Hi, thanks for watching. In this episode of Food with Len, I'm going to make some breakfast sausage. And what I've got here is a piece of pork shoulder, otherwise known as Boston butt. I'm going to cut this up into little cubes. I've also got some fatback here, and because sausage requires a lot of fat to lubricate it really well as far as that goes. Got some crushed red pepper, a little nutmeg, some salt and pepper, and I've got some cayenne pepper too. So I'm going to go ahead and cube up my meat and my fatback and get right back to you. Okay, so I've got my meat all cubed up and I've cut up my fatback. Now with this fatback, two things you want to be sure that you do. Usually comes packed in salt, so you want to rinse that salt off real good. Then once you've rinsed the salt off, you want to cut off those rinds, because those rinds are just going to be tough little bits in your sausage. And all we're really looking to do here is to add a little fat. So let's go ahead and add our stuff to it. I like a little bit of brown sugar. I'm just going to eyeball it. Something like maybe a tablespoon or two. Just gives it a little bit of extra flavor, but not overwhelming. You don't want to put too much in there. So the next thing you want to do is you want to put in some crushed red pepper. Depending upon how spicy you like things, you know, you can go a lot or you can go a little. I'm going to go about moderate here, probably about tablespoon and a half or something like that. Now if you have a microplane and some nutmeg, that's good. If you don't have that, you could just use a little dry. Just a little bit kind of brings out the flavor and all. Now I would grind some pepper, but I'm really kind of in a hurry for this, so I'm not even going to bother. I'm just going to use just a regular canned black pepper on this. So might want to get that flow a little bit quicker there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in the refrigerator overnight. And I'm going to take it a little easy with my salt. I can always check it out in the morning when I go to make everything, because I know that fatback did have a pretty good salt content. And so there's all of that. And I'm missing something. Here it is. A little bit of sage. So when I say a little bit, I like a lot. So I'm going to use like half of that container right there. Okay, I'm just going to mix this up, and I'm going to cover it in plastic wrap and put it in the refrigerator overnight. Let it absorb all these flavors. Now, you don't have to leave it overnight, but if you can, you know, at least a couple of 3 hours is good. That way it can soak up all of this. And let's see, I'm kind of missing a little bit on the crushed red pepper. I'm just going to give it a little dash of cayenne as well. You don't have to, you can just stick with the crushed red pepper. So I just washed my hands, so I'm just going to get in here like so and just give it a nice coating, just to coat everything. Make sure all of the meat is coated, and so it can pick up on all of these flavors. Just mix everything together real nicely, and I'm just going to cover this with plastic wrap and put it in the fridge overnight. Then tomorrow morning, afternoon, whenever, I'm just going to go ahead and grind it. Now if you have a grinder, a meat grinder, or a meat grinder attachment for, say, a KitchenAid multi-mixer, that's one way to go. If you don't have that, you can always use a food processor. Just do it in small batches. So anyway, I've got everything all coated up, and I'm going to go ahead and let this sit overnight, and we'll see you tomorrow. Okay, it's been overnight, and I've got my sausage here. It's been sitting, pretty much soaking up the spice and marinating. So we're ready to give it a spin. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and give it a little bit of a toss here. The best thing to do with this is to just put a little bit in it first and see how that turns out. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put a few pieces in here like so, and I'm going to just give it like a test fry. See if I've got enough in there to go through. So here we go. Just a little bit more. There we go. As you can see, I've got about enough for a full-size patty. I'm not even going to do the full-size patty. Let's push that on through. Okay, I'm using my coarse blade. You could use a fine blade. Actually, you could use a food processor if you wanted to, if you didn't have one of these or some kind of grinding device. So I'm just going to go ahead and heat up my pan and make a little test, just a little tiny test patty, and see how it turns out. And I'll get right back. Alright, my test patty turned out perfect, except it could just use a little bit more salt, which I've gone ahead and added the salt. So now I'm just going to go ahead and put the rest of this in here and just grind it up like that. If it still needs more salt, I can do that in the after effects here. But this is going to take a couple minutes, so I'll get back as soon as I'm done. Okay, I've reached the end of the line here. Just going to push that out, what I've got left in the mixer, or the Alright, I've ground up all my sausage, and this is what I have. A big, huge container of perfectly seasoned, came out excellent sausage. Okay, after I made my sausage, the camera battery died on me. Go figure. Anyway, I had to let it charge up for a little bit, and I went ahead and made another test patty, and man, that thing was delicious. So if you make your own, please let me know how it turned out in the comments down below. Would love to hear from you, and any variations that you want to do on the spices is going to change the flavor up a little bit. It seems to me like I used just about the right amount of fatback if you watched earlier in the video. So definitely remember to rinse that salt off the fatback and cut away that, that rind. That's tough. That's just not good. But anyway, thank you very much for watching Food with Len. Please comment, rate, subscribe, and I'll catch you in another video.